Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the absolute biggest mysteries of human existence today. What actually happens to our consciousness after our physical body fails? It's something literally every human being wonders about at some point. But rather than just guessing, we're going to look at some totally fascinating parallels across Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam. And when you look at these ancient texts side by side, you start to see this incredibly shared map of the afterlife that's just as complex as it is beautiful.
What exactly happens when the physical body fails? It's the ultimate universal mystery, right? And completely transcends culture, geography, and time. So today, we're mapping out this profound timeline of the soul's journey after death, exactly as these ancient traditions described it. We're talking about what happens in those specific minutes, days, and weeks right after our final breath. And what you'll find is they definitely do not just describe a sudden fade to black. No way. They outline a highly structured, incredibly active transition for our consciousness.
Okay, so let's get into it. There's this brilliant quote from the Bhagavad Gita, and it really lays the foundation for what we see across almost all of these texts: the absolute immortality of the soul. Lord Krishna basically compares dying to simply changing out of an old set of clothes. It completely flips how we view mortality. The core of who you are, your consciousness, just can't be destroyed by a burial or cremation. It literally just takes off that worn-out physical garment and keeps right on going. Section 1. The Universal Transition. The Moment of Death.
To really grasp this journey, we've got to start at the exact moment of passing. Across these traditions, death isn't a passive thing, it's an active uncoupling. According to the Hindu Garuda Purana, hours before we pass, the soul detaches from these earth-soul chakras right beneath the feet, and this invisible astral cord connecting the soul to the body is finally severed. Tibetan Buddhism talks about this exact same moment. They call it the Bardo of dying. It's a phase where the physical elements of the body and the mind itself systematically dissolve. The physical anchor drops away, but the consciousness, it is completely awake and experiencing this massive release.
Section 2. Severing the earthly cords. The immediate aftermath.
See, after that initial detachment, your consciousness doesn't just instantly vanish into the ether. Actually, it often lingers surprisingly close to home. The Garuda Purana maps this out with pretty incredible precision. For the first 13 days, the soul essentially hangs around its home, its favorite spots, and its loved ones. The text says the soul can actually see and hear its family, and even feels hunger and thirst, but obviously it doesn't have a physical form to consume anything. So it's this surreal period of just floating, observing, and kind of slowly realizing that the earthly experience is actually over. But here's where it gets wild. In the Tibetan Bardo, a newly departed consciousness might actually be so disoriented that it doesn't even know it's dead yet. To test reality, the consciousness might literally try to step into a raging fire or jump right off a cliff. And when it realizes there are no broken bones and no burns, the shock finally hits. It realizes undeniably that it has died. It's a moment of really profound grief, but it's an absolutely necessary wake-up call so the soul can keep moving. And this confusing, lingering phase, that is exactly why Hindu traditions put so much emphasis on post-death rituals. These aren't just empty traditions, they serve a very practical purpose for the departed. Rituals like Pindadan give the soul a symbolic, subtle body, spiritual nourishment, and peace of mind. By doing this, the living are literally helping calm the soul's confusion, helping it cut those earthly attachments, and assisting its safe passage across huge spiritual obstacles, like the fearsome Vaitarni River, into the next realm.
Section 3. The Intermediate Realms. Barzakh, Bardo, and the 16 Cities.
So once the soul accepts that it's moved on, it enters this vast transitional space. And this is a concept you see shared remarkably across completely different faiths. There are striking parallels between the Tibetan Buddhist Bardo, which translates to an intermediate or transitional gap, and the Islamic Barzakh, which is described as a barrier or intermediate state where souls reside right between death and the Day of Judgment. In both of these traditions, the soul hasn't reached its final destination yet. It's in a kind of cosmic waiting room, going through a phase of profound processing and transition.
Tibetan teachings take this incredibly deep. They actually outline 6 distinct bardos. And here is the fascinating part. 3 of them happen while we're still alive. The bardo of this life, of dreaming, and of meditation. The other 3 happen after death. So what this tells us is that our consciousness is actually in a constant state of transition, shifting moment by moment. Honestly, we're in one right now, while you're watching this explainer. Death is just the next big shift.
Meanwhile, over in the Islamic Barzakh, traditions describe a really social and highly conscious intermediate state. It's said that souls dwell in this beautiful garden-like setting. They keep their distinct personalities, they recognize each other, and they even eagerly greet newly arrived souls to ask, "Hey, how are the people we left behind on Earth?" It completely reframes the afterlife. It's not some lonely, dark void. It's an active, conscious community.
Section 4. Karmic Review and Purification. Facing the truth of one's life.
As the soul moves through these intermediate realms, it inevitably has to face a deep, completely unfiltered review of its earthly actions. The Garuda Purana describes this as a 49-day journey traveling through 16 symbolic cities. Now, it's super important to get this. This isn't framed as some cruel punishment. It's a purification process. Each city helps burn off different worldly desires, attachments, and regrets. It slowly strips the ego away until the soul is completely raw and authentic. Only then can it stand before the divine judge, Yama, and his cosmic scribe, Chitragupta, who holds the flawless record of the soul's karmic deeds.
There's a saying that perfectly captures this whole review. Death doesn't transform you, it reveals you. As interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita point out, whatever dominant wavelength or consciousness you cultivated while you were alive simply continues, and it completely surfaces at death. If you cultivated peace and divine awareness, well, that becomes your reality. But if you cultivated anger and attachment, you're going to have to face that. Death doesn't magically make you enlightened. It just rips away the physical mask and reveals exactly where your consciousness is at.
Section 5. The Cycle of Rebirth. The Next Destination.
So where does this profoundly deep, heavily examined, and sometimes pretty perilous journey actually end up? Well, depending on the accumulated karma that was just evaluated, the soul faces two very distinct paths. It might be propelled back into samsara, that continuous cycle of being born, dying, and being born again into a new physical body to learn more lessons. Or, if the soul has achieved true spiritual realization and finally burned through all those earthly attachments, it achieves moksha. And that is ultimate liberation, breaking the cycle entirely to merge with supreme consciousness. The absolute biggest takeaway from all these ancient texts, they aren't just morbid guidebooks for the dead. They are literally user manuals for how to live our lives today. They're asking us to treat every single moment as a rehearsal for that ultimate transition. By cultivating awareness right now, practicing detachment, and seeking a direct experience of our divine nature today, we're basically packing our spiritual bags for that inevitable journey.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative question. If death is simply a doorway, what kind of consciousness are you packing for the journey? Before we end, we'd love to hear from you. What do you believe? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, the greatest journey isn't outward, it's within. If you're passionate about spirituality, self-discovery, and timeless wisdom, subscribe to Infinite Within and begin exploring the infinite power already inside you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.